Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, May 24th, 2014. This is episode 1085. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used Apple or Android device is worth at Gazelle.com. And by Hover.com. Hover's the best way to buy and manage domain names. It's simple, it's honest, it's easy to use. For 10% off your first purchase, go to Hover.com and enter the promo code TTG5. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Hey, Nathan, I'm getting my mix back into the ears. We're talking about tech today at 8888 Ask Leo. Thank you, Nathan. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Tech means what? Computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru, joins us at 33 1/3 after the hour. The battle is raging with Amazon and publishers. This is not a good thing for us as humans. You know, the fear always was that Amazon would get so big, so powerful. It's fear of any company getting so big, so powerful that they start to act anti-competitively. And when Amazon first started, they were the little guy. They were the runt. They were the ones who said, hey, we're going to, be better than bookstores. And the publishers came flocking and said, oh, great. We can break the hold of Barnes & Noble and Borders. And they put Borders out of business, and Barnes & Noble's limping, and now Amazon says, yeah, now we're the big guy in town. They're fighting right now with a big publisher, Hachette. Hachette is one of the big five. There are only 5 big publishers, Another example of kind of monopoly behavior. And Amazon has decided that they want to, I believe, we don't know the details inside, but we think that what Amazon has decided to do is to lower the amount of money Hachette gets on the sale of each book. And Hachette says no. And Amazon says, fine. Then we're going to slow down the books. We're going to act as if you can't get books, that they're out of stock. Amazon has been discouraging, this is from the New York Times today, discouraging customers from buying titles from Hachette, the 4th largest publisher in the U.S. by market share. Impossible to order Hachette titles being issued this summer and fall. Out of stock. For a while, it was just a 2 to 3 week wait. Now, out of stock. And interestingly, one of the books you can't get in paperback is the book that I recommend about Amazon called The Everything Store by Brad Stone. Amazon says, currently unavailable. Oh. The award-winning bestseller, currently unavailable. You can walk into a bookstore and get it, if there's any bookstores left in your town. Many cities don't have bookstores anymore, thanks to Amazon. Hachette says, quote, we are determined to protect the value of our authors' books and our own work in editing, distributing, and marketing them. We hope this difficult situation will not last a long time, but we're sparing no effort in exploring all authors. The Authors Guild has accused Amazon of acting illegally in violation of the Antitrust Act. Meanwhile, independent booksellers seeing an opportunity say, we'll sell Hachette books. We got them. Books A Million, you ever hear of them? They're the #2 online book chain. Actually, #2 physical book chain. Books A Million. And they said, we have 30% discounts on Hachette titles for the summer. Hachette is not just Hachette. It's Grand Central Publishing, Little Brown, Orbit. Amazon's doing the same thing in Germany with another publisher, Bonnier. Delaying books. Now I'm starting to wonder, maybe we've given too much power to Amazon. I love Amazon. I love the idea of ordering books online. I'll go into our little independent bookstore here in Petaluma, Copperfield's Books, nice store. Love those people. really sweet. But you know, it's a bookstore, and they can't have every book in there. I go in there, and if they don't have a book, yeah, I can order it, and they'll get it in a week. They'll call me. I'll go back in the store and pick it up, or I could just go online and get it free delivery because I'm Amazon Prime day after tomorrow. And I confess, I'm doing that, which does two things. It puts pressure on the local bookstore and gives Amazon more power. J.K. Rowling's new novel, published under a pseudonym, Robert Galbraith. Can't buy that on Amazon because it's Hachette. Amazon began refusing orders on Thursday for the Rowling book. Won't take an order for it. This is a little disappointing because you'd think there'd be some, you know, regulation around this kind of bullying. This has been going on for a few months. It's just very frustrating, and who it really hurts, besides the customers, it does hurt us, obviously, but it really hurts the authors. And I know Brad Stone, and many of the other authors who publish books that now you can't buy on Amazon, and they say, yeah, it's killing our sales. Really, literally killing our sales. Oh, sad. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. We could talk about that. That's certainly one big story in the news this week. Microsoft announced a new tablet, the Surface Pro 3. This is a pretty fast cycle. Microsoft never made computers anyway. They made mice and stuff like that, but they never made computers until 18 months ago when they showed off their first PC. A lot of people said, that's not good, Microsoft. You're going to annoy all the other companies that use Windows to make computers. And Microsoft said, well, but we think we can do a better job. Surface sold terribly, so badly that, in fact, Microsoft took a big loss that year. Then they did another Surface in about 6 months. And now here we are 18 months in, and Surface Pro 3 is out. And it's expensive. In fact, Microsoft says it's the same price as a comparably equipped Apple MacBook Pro. But we think we're better because you can detach the keyboard, and it's got a little kickstand. They say it's lappable. That means you can use it in your lap. You're using your computer in your lap, Jeff. Is this that's just because we didn't give you a desk? You would probably have it on a desk if you had a desk, wouldn't you? No, but who wants to sit with a computer? Maybe when you're traveling on a plane or a train. I don't know. It seems to me that this is going to be a tough sell too. We were talking last weekend and the weekend before about this rumor that Apple would buy Beats, the headphone company, and I've poo-pooed it all along. Now, apparently, Apple Beats deal delayed. Billboard magazine says, due to discussion over Beats music valuation, Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine's roles at Apple, and outrage over Dr. Dre's video that he put up on Facebook saying, I'm the first rap billionaire, and then they took it down right away. Apple was outraged, according to Billboard magazine. $3.2 billion. Apparently there's no debate over that. I just don't think this is a very sensible deal all around. And I wish Dr. Dre well. He doesn't need the money. He's got, I think, $400 million. In fact, just bought Tom Brady, Patriots quarterback Tom Brady's new mansion that he built with his wife in Los Angeles. He built it, but wanted $50 million. They got $40 million. Dr. Dre, maybe spending some of the Beats money early. I don't know. He can afford it. I think the reason that people wanted this $40 million mansion in Brentwood, very, very, very nice area of LA. It's where all the movie stars live. It's because it has a moat around it. No word whether there's piranhas in there. I guess piranhas not included, but you could put them in there if you wanted to, or sharks or something. Some tech journals are saying the whole thing is what they call an acquire, AQUIHIRE. You buy a company to hire. That's all, $3.2 billion to hire Dr. Dre and music executive Jimmy Iovine. Seems a little steep. If that's really what they're doing. I don't really, and all the tech press, there'll be executives at Apple. I don't see Dr. Dre in the executives at the board meetings. I don't know. That seems a little weird. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's talk. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Your calls to come. They said all would become clear last week. Didn't. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the tech guy number. Website is techguylabs.com. That's a thing to remember. Put on a Post-it note and stick to your forehead, because there you will find everything. You will find the phone number. You will find a link to the chat room. You'll find answers to questions I've answered on many of these previous shows. There are 1,085 total shows. You cannot be expected to remember everything I've ever said over 1,085 shows over a period of 10 years. No, but it's all there on the website. Audio, video, questions, and answers. techguylabs.com. The Phone Ranger is back. You were gone last weekend. Did you have fun?
Oh, my God.
Where'd you go?
Carmel Valley.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
that's
the weather
nice.
was stunning.
It's beautiful.
And the people
just
were
north of Big
fabulous.
Sur. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the country. You had fun?
Oh, yeah. If you go to Cowgirl Winery. It's so beautiful.
You know, it's funny because we have a cheese factory here called Cowgirl Creamery. Are they related?
Cream and wine. They aren't, but yeah, I love them both.
It's kind of wine and cheese. You could have Cowgirl wine with your Cowgirl cheese.
Exactly.
So let me ask you, of the people you have lined up here, and I see a wonderful group of people, Mary and Jeffrey and Lori and Henry and JR and Larry, and I don't know who I should talk to here.
And you can sense that I have a favorite.
I always know that you have selected someone from this lineup. It's like a mini version of American Idol.
It is.
The Voice. Hit your button, spin your chair, tell me who I should talk to.
Today's winner is Lori in San Diego.
All right. By the way, do you ever watch those shows, American Idol? So apparently they've picked, right? I don't know. I'm not going to say any names, but I do like who they picked on The Voice. He's good. She's good. It's good. They're good. Did I confuse you? No spoilers here if you haven't watched it. Because people nowadays, nobody watches TV live.
Nope.
We just devo it and watch it later. Thank you, Heather. You said Lori in San Diego?
Line 3.
Line 3 it is. Hi, Lori. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Wow, I'm a winner.
You're a winner. Congratulations. Heather, hit the button. Spin her chair around.
It's a pleasure to talk to you, Leo. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thank you for calling. What can I do for you?
Well, I often listen to you and take your suggestions, and now I am in great need of a laptop or a Surface or something that for productivity. I need something super fast and something that I'm not necessarily a technical person, but I broke my hand-me-down Acer, and I am completely lost.
You need a computer is what you need. So, and you want a laptop, it sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you say productivity, what does that mean to you?
To me, that means I would like to log into work and work from home.
Okay.
And we use a small business server, 2003 right now. That, of course, will probably change. We're kind of,
well,
you know.
But it's definitely Windows, that sounds like. Yeah, no question.
It is.
Yep,
yeah.
Yep. And portability important to you?
It is. I'd like something light and, yes, portable. And
I am not a fan, and I know people are going to yell at me. I am not a fan of the Microsoft Surface tablets. Now, I haven't played with the new one, and I hear it's thin and surprisingly thin, and it feels good. I just feel like they're a little bit clunky, and they can't decide what they are. Are they a tablet? Are they a laptop? If they're a laptop, why do they have this crappy keyboard that detaches? And it's like, figure out what you are. And
right.
By not being either, they kind of be nothing. The only thing that I think the Surface, and it's expensive. You know, the only thing I think the Surface argues for, the thing that's interesting, that's unique, it comes with a pen, and it's got integrated with OneNote. If you're a person that uses OneNote a lot and you take notes at meetings and you know that's important to you, it's the Surface 3 is the ideal OneNote machine. That doesn't sell it to me, but that's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a big draw for me.
I'll tell you what I use and I really like. First of all, you're going to get Windows 8. I mean, you might as well.
Yes.
As much as, everybody hates it. The newest Windows 8, 8.1 is it's pretty much usable. It's not horrible. It's okay. But if you get it, you really should get a touch screen so that because a lot of the commands in Windows 7 are designed around touch. Or Windows 8, I should. I put Windows 8 on a virtual machine on a Macintosh because I wanted to have it available at the same time as I use the Mac. And even though there's no touch screen on this, Windows 8 has decided to put a big overlay on top of all the screens to say swipe here, do this, and I can't get rid of it. On a touch screen, you get rid of it by swiping, but it's not a touch screen. So the fix for this is one of the things that just annoys me no end because Microsoft can't figure out what they want, is you have to go in Device Manager and disable the touch screen. Even though it's not a touch screen, it never was a touch screen, it's installed by default, and you disable it, then it stops giving you those pop-ups. This is new in 8.1, and then it starts giving you pop-ups for a mouse. And it's just weird that it does that. In any event, I do think a touchscreen is useful. And the laptop I use that I actually think is quite good is the Acer Aspire S7. It is super thin. My friend Mary Jo Foley, who writes about Microsoft for ZDNet, her blog is all about Microsoft.com, searched far and wide, looked at all the different Windows 8 laptops. She chose it too. It's extraordinarily thin, very light, and yet very powerful. It's not cheap. I mean, we're talking a productivity tool, but I presume you weren't looking for a $400 computer here.
No, I'm not. Kind of my threshold is at about $1,200.
This is a little more, but it's right in there.
Okay.
And what you're getting is a 13.3-inch screen, which is very high resolution, 2560 by 1440. It has an i7, 8 gigs of RAM. It's a high-end machine. Acer did something interesting just recently. They decided they were going to stop making the low-end stuff. Acer kind of was a little bit schizophrenic. They had this very cheap, frankly not very good low-end stuff. And then they had what I thought was very good high-end stuff. They're going to eliminate the low-end and just do the high-end stuff. And I think if you're buying a computer, you should try to spend and get the high-end if you can possibly afford it. It's just going to be a much better experience all around. It really is. That's why Microsoft stopped selling, is selling a high-end Surface. So you don't need the i7. I think if they have one without the i7, you could do well with the i5. But this is, I love this laptop. I just think it's super good. Battery life is superb. You're talking 8, 9, 10 hours, depending on what you do.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a solid-state drive, so it's very fast.
That's my main thing. Really, honestly, the three things I need are portability, super lightweight, super fast, and the ability to connect to my work.
Yeah, and that's why you have to use Windows. This is a good choice.
I'm so thrilled that I got through and got your recommendation. Yeah. Now I'm just going to go out and buy one.
All right. All right. And I think they have one in your price range. There's a variety of prices depending on processor, but it's so good. It's so good. The S7, get the one with the 4th generation core, the new one. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I have here in my hands the newish HP Spectre for review. This is not a bad, actually not a bad notebook. It's really almost a direct copy of the MacBook Air, except it's 16:9, as you can see. It's widescreen. But good keyboard. I was impressed. Good trackpad. They've actually done some interesting things with the trackpad. Very nice screen. I wish it didn't have this Beats audio painted on the screen there. You can't get rid of that. But other than that, it's almost identical to a MacBook. Look who's here. It's Scotty Wilkinson. I didn't mention the eBay breach. You're right, I should mention that. I forgot. Yes, John?
Might be a good time to talk to Scott.
Scott, how are you? How are you, Scott?
Hey, Leo. Doing great. How about
Hey, is
yourself?
there any chance we're doing... I'm not going to be here next weekend, as you may or may not know.
I didn't know, actually.
No,
I know I'm coming up for the 4th of July week.
Yeah, and that's why we didn't want to have you come up for 2 weekends in a row. But so we recorded ahead, but I would love to record a segment with you.
Sure. No problem.
Maybe
I think
like
I heard somebody say...
3? Would 3 work for you?
3 o'clock today? Yeah, sure.
Okay. Putting you down, Scott. 3 p.m. You're on the schedule. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll give you time.
My pleasure.
Time to prepare. What do you want to talk about?
Indeed. Well, I got a couple things. I just recently, just yesterday, posted a piece about how Redbox, you know Redbox?
Yes.
They're closing like 500 of their kiosks, which is only like 1.5% of them, but it might be a sign of the times. And I've gotten quite a few responses on that piece. Related to that is I just put up a poll on where do you get your movies? Do you purchase Blu-rays? Do you get them from Redbox? Do you stream them?
No more discs.
Yeah, no more discs. Although
no more discs.
On AVS, discs are still very popular, and purchased Blu-rays is the #1 response.
Yeah,
but
they're behind the times. They're way behind them.
Then there's the whole issue of high-res audio, which I've been doing a lot of lately. So we could talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Any of those you like?
Okay, I think discs is good.
Discs is good.
Discs is good.
One thing about Redbox, which I'll talk about on the segment, that very often those rentals do not include the lossless audio, the highest quality audio. They're actually either Dolby Digital or in some cases even 2-channel.
That movie industry sucks. They really do.
Yeah, well.
I watched Gladiator from Netflix a couple of nights ago, and the quality was very good. It was through Apple TV, but it was very, very, very good.
Yeah.
I was pleased.
You actually heard me on that soundtrack.
You're on the soundtrack playing the tuba?
No, playing the shofar and the alp horn and seashell trumpets.
On Gladiator?
Yep. You know where the when the gladiators come into the arena and you hear all that really
Maximus, Maximus. That's you.
Those horns are all me.
Did they all you?
Yep.
They didn't have like a shofar orchestra?
Well, no, they just sampled me and then played it a bunch of times.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Actually got to meet Hans Zimmer.
That's right. He did the music for it. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Here he is, the man who played the shofar in the incredible movie Gladiator, ladies and gentlemen. I give you Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru, who has said he's a little he reminds me a little bit of Jay-Z. He said, "Man, I could play anything with wind."
Yep, that you blow into.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's different, isn't it? I can play anything you blow into. That's this man right here. He is our home theater guru. And actually got into it because he's a musician, has an ear, and got into home theater sound. And then, of course, it expanded into TVs and everything else. Scott, welcome.
It was audio first. It was audio first. But TVs are fascinating to me, and I learned how they work and all that stuff. And now I try to help other people understand it, and so that they can make good decisions about what to buy and how to set it up and get the most out of it.
Scott is the editor-in-chief of the AVS Forum, which has always been the place to go if you are into video. When I wrote many moons ago the book on hacking your TiVo, it was with a lot of help from the AVS Forum. These guys really were excellent in that kind of stuff. And you mentioned this interesting story on the front page, Redbox closing 500 kiosks this year. But that's, how many kiosks do they have total? I mean, that's a small...
they've got like 36,000.
So that doesn't, that's not significant.
It's 1.5%. It's not very much. They claim that 68% of the American population lives within a 5-minute drive of a Redbox kiosk.
There's somebody in our chat room says, "Oh no, I only have 3 in view of my window. What am I, whatever will I do? Whatever will." So this is the DVD rental. If you don't have if you're one of the 5 of us who don't have a Redbox nearby. It's in front of 7-Elevens and stores like that, and it's a DVD rental thing that's nobody works there. It's automated.
Totally automated. It takes up, I think, 12 square feet of retail space.
And they have only the current movies, right? I mean, it's not like.
Yeah, they only have like 200 titles in a kiosk, and they're mostly the most current ones. They do now rent Blu-rays as well and video games.
Oh, interesting.
Although their video game business, the video game part of it doesn't do very well. As I recall, something like 15% is Blu-ray, a few percent is games, and the rest is standard definition DVD.
Which tells you something, frankly. Frankly.
Yes.
I am of the opinion, frankly, that discs in general are dying. We still have one DVD rental store in town.
Yeah, really, still.
Oh, yeah, but we were all surprised. It's kind of in the dusty corner of one of those, lesser used malls in town. Right. And they have a big sign that says, "We'll buy your old DVDs." It doesn't feel like it's a thriving business.
Well, no, and of course, Blockbuster is getting out of the business.
We had a Blockbuster. They left 2 years ago. They skedaddled.
Ours is shuttered as well. So, it's streaming is really the up and coming thing. I'm running a poll this week on AVS asking the question: where do you get your movies? Or do you purchase Blu-rays or DVDs? Do you stream movies on Netflix or whatever? Do you go to Redbox and rent them there? And by far on AVS, which is admittedly a somewhat skewed population because they're most interested in quality than convenience primarily, buying Blu-rays is the biggest answer. The second biggest is streaming from Netflix, but the third most popular answer is renting from Redbox.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there is a business model there. Apparently, Redbox only increased their revenue by 3% in 2013, and they're on track to do no better than that this year. So that may be one reason why they're scaling back slightly, shall we say? But I do ask the question in that piece. Hey, does this spell? Is this the beginning of the end? In a sense,
I mean, the way people do it today is kind of a trailing indicator, because I think it's a trend, though. I think that's pretty clear that we're going to be watching fewer and fewer physical discs, especially as bandwidth goes up, quality gets better. I was mentioning to you, and the reason we mentioned Gladiator is because I watched it a couple of nights ago. Hadn't seen it in a while, and it was free on Netflix. It's one of the nice things about Netflix. They don't have all the new movies. But it's fun to go back and watch a movie you saw years ago.
Sure,
and I was impressed. The quality that we had 5:1 surround. The quality was very good. I watched it in high def, and I couldn't see any artifacting. In fact, frankly, I see a lot more artifacting these days on the video on demand from Comcast than I saw.
Really?
Yeah,
well, that's interesting. I hardly ever look at video on demand from a cable or satellite.
It's terrible.
Okay.
It's terrible. And you see it when you have a dark night or a lot of black.
Oh yeah,
you'll see that blocking, and it doesn't look black. It looks weird.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly right.
I was watching Penny Dreadful, which is a lot of night scenes. Showtime show that just came out, and
I haven't seen that yet. Is it good?
Oh, it's terrifying. Yeah. Yeah, it's really good, but a lot of dark stuff, and it's very disappointing on demand because there's so much. What do they call that?
Macro blocking.
Macro blocking looks terrible.
Yeah, when you see these big square blocks of solid color in different areas of the screen, it's called macro blocking.
David Bix in our chat room says that's because the cable companies still use MPEG-2, the old DVD compression format. Whereas Netflix is using VC1, which is a much more modern and better.
Or AVC.
Yeah.
Netflix I think Netflix uses AVC, which is H.264 or MPEG-4. Right. All this alphabet soup is very confusing, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. But yes, the more modern compression algorithms can give you better performance in a smaller bandwidth, in less space. MPEG-2 still requires a lot of bandwidth to look good, and if they don't have a lot of bandwidth and they're using MPEG-2, then they're going to compress the heck out of it, and it's going to look really bad. So that may very well be.
Netflix has a variety of codecs. The one where you see the more modern codec is House of Cards. They released the second season as a 4K video using H.265.
Correct.
Which is that
That's
new
the most-
exciting codec.
Yep,
Or
exactly
that's
right. It's a very complex codec,
Yeah.
and pretty expensive to do. So, but it's 30 to 50% more efficient than AVC or MPEG-4 H.264, the previous generation. It lets you send 30 or 50% more data in a given piece of bandwidth. So
That's what the Sony player's using too, HEVC.
I believe so.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
The
Sony UHD player.
Right. Well, the one that comes with the UHD player. Yeah, that comes with your Sony 4K television.
Right.
There's nothing you can watch on it.
That's right. And that Sony player can only work with a Sony TV. That's a bummer, in my opinion.
Right. I do
Samsung's
believe that
coming out with one of those as well.
It's all about convenience in the long run. If even if the Redbox is, and this is why Redbox is the sole survivor, because at least they're just down the block.
Exactly.
And
you're going to go to the grocery store anyway.
Right. So you pick up a disc while you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you any more. And the discs are like, what, $1 a day, or Blu-rays are $1.50 a day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to get really ultimately higher quality than you will from streaming on a physical disc. That's the one advantage that physical discs still have.
I guess, convenience really outweighs. And I presume I'm a little bit of a videophile. I have fancy TVs. And
you do have some fancy
surround
TVs.
sound and stuff. And to me, the idea that I can get it now while I'm sitting on the couch, I'd like to watch a movie. What should I look at? Oh, Gladiator. That to me outweighs what I see as a minor difference in quality.
Convenience does usually trump. Yep.
Scott Wilkinson, avsforum.com, and his Home Theater Geeks podcast is every week on twit.tv/HTG. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. So you said this new codec is expensive. You mean in processing time, or did this
Yes,
license
that's
fees?
what I mean. That's what I mean in processing time.
Well, the good news about that is that, as witness Google and all of these new things they're doing on Google Plus with your photos, processing time has gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and there's a lot of excess capacity out there. And,
yep.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true. But compared to H.264, it requires a lot more processing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's newer, so it's not as well developed.
Mm-hmm.
As time goes on and more people to write these codecs and so on, it'll get better and it'll approach that 50% mark, 50% improvement mark. Right now, it's at about 30%.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
All right. You take it away. I'm going to let you have a little time here while I...
Oh, thank you so much.
Dance naked.
Dance? No, I'm not going to do that. Quirt Anonymous, you asked the same question. What is the expense of H.265? New proprietary equipment? No, it's the amount of processing it requires. It requires a lot heavier processing than H.264, which means that it takes longer to do. Time is money. That's kind of what I meant. I'm sorry I wasn't clearer on that. So let's see what everybody has to say here. Sarah Jane is waving at me across the pond. Sarah Jane, UK. So nice to see you. Thanks so much. Ooh, here's somebody in the chat room who might be up in Sonoma for the 4th of July weekend. Stop on by the studio and say hi, please. I'm looking forward to filling in for Leo then very much. We're going to have a fun time. My wife's coming up. We're going to go to an Oakland A's game on the 4th of July. It's going to be really fun. Let's see. Beatmaster says, Leo had a caller yesterday on a pre-record asking about wireless surrounds. Then came up the question of positioning. I recall the THX spec saying they should be 2 to 3 feet above your ear's head. Is that still valid? Yes, it is. You want the surround, at least in most 5.1 surround soundtracks, you want the surround speakers to be up above your head a little bit. You want the surround field to be a little more diffuse than the front sound field. For one thing, you can't hear directionality as accurately behind you as you can in front of you. So there isn't any real need for there to be super directional speakers behind you. There are those who will argue with that, and I'll be happy to talk about that. But in any event, generally speaking, you want the surround speakers to be a couple feet above your ear height. And if you count from the center line, if you call that 0, You go back 110 degrees or so, somewhat more than directly to your sides, but not way in the back, and you put them up there. That is going to be the best place for them. And indeed, wireless is a great way to go because people don't like to have wires strewn across their rooms here. W. Scott is one. Did you see Godzilla? I haven't seen it yet. I've heard a lot of people say good things. Leo even liked it, and it was in 3D, but he said that the 3D wasn't over the top. So I am going to go see it. I'm a little concerned about the volume of the soundtrack. I bet you it's going to be pretty loud. But I've talked to some other friends who have seen it, and they actually liked it. So I am going to go see it. But the first thing I'm going to go see is X-Men, Days of Future Past. I'm really looking forward to that. Of all the superhero movie franchises that are out there, I really like the X-Men franchise, probably the best. So I'm really looking forward to that one. KD8RKE, what do you think of the so-called death of Blu-ray? I don't think it's going to die anytime soon. I suspect it will probably become more of a niche market.
All right, we'll get you at the top of the hour. Thank you, Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. I should have mentioned this probably at the top of the hour. I'll mention it now. If you have an eBay account, change your password. 145 million eBay users. We found out about this Wednesday, but eBay didn't deign to put an announcement on their front page or tell anybody via email until yesterday, which seems kind of unconscionable. I think eBay, this is not unusual, like other companies, is not maybe admitting to the full scope of what actually happened. It is certainly a good idea to reset your password. And, when I found out about this on Wednesday, of course, I immediately went and did it, and I couldn't. There wasn't anything on the front page. It was business as usual. I really had to dig around to find the place to change the password. It wasn't obvious. Thank goodness they've seen the error of their ways. And if you go to your eBay front page, ebay.com, you'll see a big button to reset your password. Do that. eBay says that there was a leak of passwords, but they were encrypted, but they weren't encrypted as thoroughly as they might have been. They used encryption instead of hashing, which, well, anyway, apparently there's some question about how bad this is. Now, the company's always going to kind of play it down. Oh, no, there's nobody's no financial. Blah, blah, blah. But people are starting to say, my prices have been changed on my page. I'm a little nervous. So the most important thing to do at this point is change your password, and then keep an eye on your statements from your credit card. Whatever credit card you use on eBay, I keep an eye on that. If you're an eBay seller, of course, you got to pay a lot of attention. Make sure all your prices are correct and listings haven't been changed and so forth. It's a little frustrating. Now, there's some question. I had this question, too. Does this affect PayPal? As far as we know, not. But eBay's owned by PayPal. So you'd think they'd have a better, security strategy. I hope this isn't indicative of a flaw that goes deeper than just eBay, but goes up to the parent company. One of the reasons eBay didn't react too quickly is they thought at first customer data was safe. This was discovered early this month, and they had forensic investigators come in, but they didn't say anything till this week, till Wednesday. 145 million users. It's probably the biggest hack of all time. And they said, well, at first we didn't think any eBay customer with data was compromised. We do now think it might have been. Hackers got in using the credentials of 3 eBay employees, making their way to the user database where they got email addresses, encrypted passwords belonging to all eBay users. Now, why this is important is if a hacker gets the database and can take it home, which they can and did, they can bang on it. So it's and if the data was not hashed and salted, which is the most secure way to store this, there's a very great risk that all of these passwords could be exposed. So not only should you change your eBay password, but if you, as many do, if you use that password on other sites, now's the time to stop doing that. And most people have one password, you know. Oh, it's really secure. It's my birthday plus my initials. And no one would ever guess that. I just did. Actually, there's people who have passwords called, their password is password or password 123. Here's a really good one, ASDFGHJKL. That's a good password. Unless you look at your keyboard and you realize that's all the letters of the keyboard going right across. How about QWERTY? You see, it's... And what happens is, as soon as the bad guys figure out the obvious passwords, they can kind of crack the whole database as a result. eBay says millions of users have reset their password. That could be as little as 1% of the total. There's so many of them. eBay has now sent out emails to everybody. This is what eBay says. We're going to send all of the people an email, but sending everybody an email right away is not operationally possible. That is a lot of emails. 3 states are investigating the company's security practices. New York's Attorney General has called on eBay to give free credit monitoring service to users. Others have done that. Target did that. Target, it cost the CEO and the chief technical officer their jobs, ultimately, the Target breach. Currently, eBay has no plans to compensate customers or offer credit monitoring because, hey, we haven't detected any financial fraud. You know, the problem with this is these companies really are not as forthright as they ought to be. The right thing to do would be just to bite the bullet and tell the truth, everything you know, as soon as you know it, not wait 3 weeks. And then do everything you need to do to protect your customers, including credit monitoring. Nevertheless, if you have an eBay account, this would be a good time to change the password. If you use the same password elsewhere, it'd be a good time to change those accounts as well. And as I've said many times before, this is your opportunity to go out, get a password manager. There are many very good ones. Dashlane, 1Password, RoboForm. The one I use, LastPass, highly recommend. Let it generate new passwords for all of these sites. You won't have to remember them. You can make them long and strong. And all you have to do is remember 1Password, the password to get into your password vault, and that's it. Really good time to do this. I have not received, I don't think, anything from eBay yet, but I changed my password immediately as soon as I heard this. That's, by the way, something we all ought to do. When you hear of these, even if initially they say, you know, it's probably not bad, change your password. Change your password often. It's a great idea. And again, we don't know if it affected PayPal. I have no idea. eBay hasn't said anything about it one way or the other. So there's nothing to say at the moment. Now Larry in Loma Linda. Hi, Larry. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Pardon me. Hi, Leo. How are you?
Didn't mean to surprise you. Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I've got Yahoo Mail, and I get quite a bit of spam, like yesterday 78, today 62. During the day, anywhere from 2 to 10 now and then. The problem with deleting it all at once is that occasionally some of my regular email gets put in there. So I have to go through all of it, and I get tired of getting all of this stuff. You know,
very frustrating, yeah.
Viagra and $2,500 loan and Russian girlfriends and all kinds of stuff.
Well, so here's the consolation. Everybody's getting it. The problem is that Yahoo's not doing a good job filtering it.
That's it. I've got a spam filter blocker on there, but it doesn't do any good.
I'm just looking at my spam folder on Yahoo. I never check it, but let's just see if Equifax credit update, eHarmony, Supercharger Sex Life, Burger King gift card. Yeah, and that's just in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So hang on, I'm going to talk about the best way to fight spam when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scotty, it's all yours for the next 6.5 minutes.
Thank you very much. By the way, I hadn't known about that eBay thing, so I went and just changed my password.
Good man. Yeah, I realized they haven't sent out emails to everybody yet. They've sent out some.
No, I didn't get one.
I didn't get one yet either.
I went to eBay and I signed in with my old password, and the first thing I saw was, you want to go change your password. So they have a notice up anyway.
Yeah, and
Weird.
that's how you would find out, is the notice, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't go to eBay that often.
No, I don't either. I don't sell on eBay. Only when I want to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't. That's exactly right. I don't think I've ever sold anything on eBay anyway.
Yep. All yours.
So anyway,
sir.
here I am in the chat room. Hey, everybody, loquacious one. So nice to see you. As always, it's delightful. Having a wonderful time here on this Saturday. We've been talking about Redbox and physical discs, and somebody mentioned that a 60-inch TV for $600 and some, and yeah, prices are coming down big time. I wrote on the website AVS Forum about I got to take a brief critical look at the Vizio E-Series 60-inch LED edge-lit. No, backlit. I take it back. It was back. That's what the cool thing about Vizio is, that all of their TVs this year are backlit with local dimming. Now, the E-Series doesn't have very many zones. Backlit, what that means is that the LEDs are in an array behind the screen, and different zones, different sections of the screen can be independently dimmed or brightened. And the more zones you have, the more effective that is at increasing contrast and giving you a more punchy picture and deeper blacks. Well, the E-Series, the 60-inch E-Series that I saw has only 12 zones. So it's not really that effective for that, but it did look pretty darn good. Black levels were acceptable, certainly, if not good, and I'd say probably good. Not as good as the Panasonic ZT60 that it was sitting next to, but what can you expect? That was 6 times as much money. So anyway, Vizio 60-inch, the E-Series. I'm sorry, it was the 55-inch, my mistake, E550i for $730. So that's a great deal in my opinion, for sure. Let's see what anybody else has to say here. Aloha Waikiki Guru and Friendly Manitoba. Oh, sorry, that's loquacious. Somebody asked me about whether or not it would be a good idea to pair an Emotiva power amp with Klipsch speakers. Now, I don't know the models of either of those, but my general rule of amps and speakers is that you have to be aware of what the impedance of the speaker is. Now, typically, it's 8 ohms, commonly, and just about any power amp will drive that just fine. However, if the impedance gets lower, 6 ohms is probably okay, 4 ohms is starting to get problematic, and 2 ohms is really problematic. You need an amplifier that is designed to drive that low of an impedance. The impedance determines how much power the speaker is trying to pull or draw from the amplifier. The lower the impedance, the more power it's going to try and draw. If the amplifier is not designed to feed a speaker with that low impedance, it's going to be working harder than it's designed to. It's going to heat up. It could, in fact, catch fire. So you really want to be careful about that. If your speakers are 8 ohms, no problem. Every amp made today can drive 8 ohms without difficulty, without worry, without danger. But if it's 6, probably okay. 4 is not so good. 2 is really difficult, and you need an amp, a special amp for that. I don't know what the Klipsches are. They're probably 8 or 6. If they're 4, take a close look at that. So let's see as I scroll through here. Beatmaster says every surround codec, Dolby Digital, DTS, so on and so forth, demands another positioning of the speakers. Where's the best middle ground? Well, I don't necessarily agree that they demand different positioning of speakers. Most of them do follow the THX recommendation, which is your center channel directly in front of you, the front, right, and left at 30 degrees, and the surrounds at 110 degrees and up elevated somewhat. And then if you have, somebody asked earlier about back surrounds. If you're going to add those are going to be at 150 degrees, maybe something like that, from the front center line. So that is if you put those speakers in those positions roughly, any of the surround formats are going to sound fine, and it's not going to be a problem. Let's see. Shivers is asking, looking for a receiver with AirPlay capability. Is the Yamaha RN500 any good? Other suggestions can go higher in price. You know, I haven't looked at receivers lately. A lot of them have AirPlay. Yamaha receivers I generally like, as long as they are above a certain level. What I don't like about low-cost receivers from any manufacturer is the speaker connectors on the back that are called spring clips. You know, those red and black little doodads that you push on and they have a spring in them that you just stick the bare wire in there and let them go and it holds them. That's not a very good connection. So I prefer what are called binding posts, which are the ones that you sort of screw on and off. And you could also plug banana plugs into them. That's what I recommend if you can afford it. Those are generally a little more expensive. Friendly Manitoba asks, so what is the most likely successor to Blu-ray in terms of physical media? That's a good question. The Blu-ray Disc Association is working on, or talking about anyway, a 4K or UHD disc format, but that's not going to be for another couple of years. I tend to think that what's going to replace Blu-ray for physical media is hard discs, or like a server, like a hard disk server that's like the Sony.
No.
You don't think so?
No. It's all going to be, yeah, sure. I'm going to send you a hard drive.
No.
Oh, yeah, it'll be over the internet. Yeah, well, that's streaming.
But that's physical media, isn't it?
No. Thank you, Scotty.
I'll see you around 3.
See ya. Thank you. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and cell phones and home theater and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada, outside those areas. You can also call via Skype and it won't cost you anything because it's a toll-free number. 888-827-5536. We were talking about spam fighting. Poor Larry, he's on Yahoo Mail, and he says he gets a lot of spam. Yahoo Mail, in theory, has anti-spam, and I have a spam folder. And the problem with, fighting spam, first of all, we've lost the battle. Spam exists, and a great percentage of all the email traffic in the world is spam. In my case, because I've had an email, it varies depending on how many people have the email address you use. I've used the same email address for more than a dozen years, so I'm on every spam mailing list possible. And that address gets more than 99% of all the mail to that address is spam. More than 99 out of 100 messages that I get are spam. I don't want to see. Something like 30,000 spam messages a month, according to my spam filter. Yeah. Now, the problem with that is you don't want to miss a message from mom or your bank, you don't want a false positive. You don't want messages that aren't spam to be blocked. But at the same time, you don't want messages that are obviously spam to get through. Who wants to see those? Mail enhancement research Oh, these are new since we talked. Naked pictures of someone you know. Let's see. I mentioned the Burger King gift card. Blue Sky Auto Loan. There's a lot of these. Dr. Oz's newest fat burner, which, by the way, I'm sure didn't come from Dr. Oz. Increase size. Increase student loan forgiveness. Curves. Doggy foot discounts. What? Doggy foot discount. That's what it says. 75% off top-rated dog toys and treats. Spam. It's all spam. So the best spam filters, we've tried to do this manually by making filters. That was how we first did it. Maybe you've tried this where you make filters and it doesn't work too well. And then along came what they called Bayesian filtering. The idea was to use statistical methodology to learn. So with a Bayesian filter, you train the filter. Remember this? You train the filter by giving it a lot of stuff you knew to be spam, and then it would get better and better as every time you got a spam message, you said, no, that's spam. But the spammers are smart. They got around both of those techniques by changing the content of the spam. A lot of times there's no content at all. They do all sorts of tricks to get by spam filters. So the current technique that works the best is something called collaborative filtering. And I know there's people who do other techniques like, for instance, refusing all mail unless you prove you're a human. I don't like to do that because I don't like to make people who are emailing me jump through hoops just to email me. So collaborative filtering seems the best. Yahoo is apparently not using this. They ought to. It works well on services that have many, many users because the idea, and Google does use this, Gmail uses this. The idea is if a user says, no, you shouldn't have sent me that, that's spam, that's a strike against that sender and that message. And if Google sees thousands of people saying it's spam, that's a pretty good indicator it really is spam. A machine doesn't know spam. Humans, we're very good at it. We know spam. And so if it says, if we look at it and we say it's spam and 1,000 say it's spam, that's spam. So those collaborative filters work quite well. That's why I use Gmail. I think for those of us who use Gmail, false positives are non-existent or very, very, very low, mistakenly thinking something's spam when it's not. And the effectiveness rate is very high. I don't see much spam, even though 99% of the mail that comes to my Gmail account is spam. I might see one spam message every few days, literally. So if you can move from Yahoo Mail to Google Mail, that's not a bad idea. But here's a way you can do it without changing your address. Have your Yahoo Mail forwarded to a Gmail address. That means you can still tell people, my address at yahoo.com, still have mail go there, but you get the benefits of Google Mail's filtering. And both services are free, so why not? I have mail forwarded to Gmail from other accounts because it's just so good at getting rid of the mail. If you don't want to deal with Google, you feel like they're reading my mail, which, by the way, they have to do to filter spam, then you might want to try a third-party service. The one I've recommended before is onlymyemail.com. I think this is a great service. It does very well, and it's the same idea. It's collaborative filtering. So you can use, one of the services they have is you can have all your email still go to the same address, but it goes through only my email first. They have now, and I think this is great, an email for kids service where you can decide as a parent, look, our kids need to understand and learn email, but maybe they need training wheels. So this is the idea. You can decide as a parent how it works, whether you'll only accept, initially I would suggest only accepting email from known senders, grandma, mom, dad, that like that. Eventually, you could get a little more open, or you can review all incoming emails before your kid sees them, or review all outgoing emails. This is a nice service. I think this is a great idea. Onlymyemail.com. But frankly, the free Google Mail is what I use, and it does a great job. 99% of my mail is spam, and I don't see any of it. That, to me, is working. So, Larry, that would be my suggestion, is continue to use your Yahoo account. Just create a new Google account. You don't need to give it out to anybody. In fact, use an obscure name. That's fine. Larry's secret email 1234 at gmail.com. and have Google. You can either have Google fetch your email from Yahoo or have Yahoo forward your email to Google. Which one do you use, Jeff? Do you use filter? Do you filter Yahoo Mail over to Google? Yeah, I forward it. You forward it. I think getting it from Yahoo means having a paid Yahoo account because I think you have to pay for it. You can do that for free? Okay. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Mary's on the line from Northridge, California. Hi, Mary. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi. Thanks for taking my phone call.
Oh, my pleasure.
I disconnected my Windows XP desktop right when you told me to. And
I hear the clock chiming for XP.
Anyway,
ask not for whom the bell tolls. It tolls
right.
for XP.
And it was a great computer.
Oh.
And I know, it's pretty pathetic.
Oh.
So I figured, no problem. I have old art programs. I'll just buy, and I have an old scanner and an old printer. I'll just buy.
No. I know what you're going to say because my mom did this.
Oh, dear.
She used Dabbler on Windows, and she loved it, and it's gone.
No. I went out and bought a new computer from Costco.
Yeah.
Costco has been wonderful because they're selling 8700 XPS with Windows 7 Pro.
Very nice.
Everything should work.
Nice, Dell. Well, but you want to use older software and older hardware with it.
Well, to make a long story short, the first one was dead out of the box.
Oh.
Last night, we've been troubleshooting this since Wednesday, and I eventually worked my way on Thursday to a second-level tech at Microsoft in India, who was wonderful.
This has nothing to do with Microsoft. So you're saying the computer, the first one you took home didn't even work. So you brought it back.
I returned it.
And they gave you a new one.
Right. The new one ends up at Microsoft because the hardware appeared to be fine. I just got it last Friday.
What was happening?
Error messages. Well, first of all,
you bring it right back. You don't go to Microsoft. You bring it right back and say,
should I try again?
Bring it. Don't waste time fixing it. It's broken. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll talk about it when we come back. Don't get on the horn with Microsoft. If it comes out of the box and it's error, that's it. Take it back. And maybe stop buying computers from that place because it's maybe not a good place. I'd give them one more chance. What I think they're doing is they're not selling you a new computer. They're selling you... Costco. Yeah, Costco. It's Dell. It's Dell's problem? Well, somebody's problem. Jeff says it's Dell. I say it's Costco. But you don't try to fix it. If a computer, you take it out of the box, you plug it in, and it goes error, put it right back in the box, and you take it back. And you say it doesn't work. Because the chances are very good. There's so many problems with this. The computer should come out of the box and works fine. If it doesn't in any way work fine, you take it back. I'm thinking it's a refurb or I don't know. I just, make Costco fix it. And I don't care if the guy in India was nice. You're wasting time talking to some guy. That's not your problem. If you bought a new car and you drove it home and it stalled 5 times on the way home, you don't get it fixed. You bring it back and you say this is broken. And there really is a good reason for this because it's a sign that there could be lots wrong with this, and it could. If you don't know if it's hardware or not, you shouldn't have to know. And you shouldn't try to fix it because it's software only. You bring it back. And if Costco doesn't take it back, you raise holy hell because it's brand new. And this is the second time. First you take the duck and you put it in a turkey. Then you take the turkey and you put it in a goose. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We were talking to, she's gone. I'm sorry. She probably thought I hung up on her, but I ran out of time. We have to take the breaks on a schedule. These, network breaks. But our last caller, I felt bad because she took home the computer from Costco. First one didn't start up. Second one starts up an error. And so, nice lady, she got on the phone with Microsoft, nice Indian guy. She tries to fix it. No. That's like you buy a car and you start driving it home from the dealer and it stops. And you go, and you get it going again and it stops again. You don't take it to a mechanic. You take it back to the dealer and you say, this car is broken. The computer was broken. And error messages could be software, but you don't know. It could be all sorts of things. And it's Costco's issue, not yours to fix. You bring it to Costco and you say, hey, this doesn't work. I want another one. This is the second one. Let's try a third time. If the third time's dead, then you don't go back to Costco anymore. But Costco's pretty good about returns, but in my experience. I don't think you're going to have too much trouble saying, hey, this is not working right. You should turn it on, plug it in, turn it on, bong, or whatever. What does Windows sound? It turns on, and you got it. And then Windows should be there. It shouldn't be anything else. I feel bad because I think, and this was my motto for many years when I did the Call for Help TV show, it's not your fault. I think we assume when technology doesn't work, it's something we did wrong. Mea culpa. It's my fault. I take responsibility. But you know what? It's not your fault. In this case, it's clearly not your fault. It's Dell's fault. It's Costco's fault. You bought it from Costco. You bring it back. You wouldn't put up with a TV that had errors. You would, bring it back. Just bring it back, and I'm sure they'll give you another one. Jeffrey in Twin Peaks, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Jeffrey, thanks for hanging on. What can I do for you?
Well, I liked your advice about the high-end Acer F7, and I'd like to know about low-end. I have to have something with a CD, DVD, so I can record pictures and stuff.
And you don't want to spend too much money?
Right.
How much do you want to spend?
I don't know, 400, 500.
I want to buy a Toyota for $400 too, but I don't think they're going to give me a good Toyota for $400.
Hey, what's the lowest price?
Okay, so you need what's called a desktop replacement. A lot of laptops these days. I'm looking at this HP Spectre. They don't come with disk drives anymore, right?
I know.
That's old school, old hat. And because everybody wants to make them thin, and that Acer S7 is a good example. It's very, very thin. They don't have room for it. So I would say there are several good choices. Toshiba and Dell both sell desktop replacements. I would not get a low-end Acer. They're phasing those out, and there's a reason. When you spend $400 on a computer, you're buying a lot of problems in general. And I think the computer industry has not done people any favors by selling such low-end computers. Let me see let me see. You're going to get, first thing we'll eliminate is touchscreen, because touchscreen costs money. You don't need that.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And I hate the tiles.
And I don't want it. So you want Windows 7, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, the Inspirons, Inspiron, range from $400 to $800. And I think they're, good quality computers. I do believe Dell, and this is a Dell, I do believe Dell will sell it to you with Windows 7 still. They haven't eliminated it. These are kind of business class. They're productivity focused. Let me see if they sell any with a CD or a DVD. That's kind of going to be maybe part of the problem. You can get an external drive on any of these.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think are you going to carry this around at all?
Well, I'd like to, yeah.
Yeah, so get an external drive. That way, when you need it, you can use it, but you don't have to make it part of the whole kit that you carry around.
Yeah, my son-in-law, every time his computers fail, he takes the drive out and makes it into an external drive.
Yeah, that's what right. Why throw it away? Jeff's found me an Inspiron 15-inch that, does it have a disc, Jeff? Yeah, it does. All right, so Dell, this is $500. This is close to your price range.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a low end, it's i3, but I think, that's why it's cheap. But that's fine. I think an i3 is probably plenty of processing power, unless you're not doing computer-aided rocket design, are you?
Yeah, right.
No. All right, you're probably good on that one. So Dell would be my first choice for something like this. I like them a lot. You can get it from Costco. In fact, I think they have a few very low-cost ones right now in the window. Chip in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chip. Hey,
Hi,
Chip.
Leo. What do you know about the light Wi-Fi through lights?
So you were talking about
saw a
wireless
video
networking by using light.
Yeah, I saw a video once, and it looked like it's working. It's practical, and the reason is I hate these monopoly Verizon and
Oh, you're talking internet access via light, as opposed to just in the house. It's not really Wi-Fi. You want to get it from a provider wirelessly somewhere, a mile away. Yeah, I mean, it's in the labs. I don't know of anybody who does it. There are, though, people who do it via microwave, and that's if you want something today. I love the acronym WiLi, wireless via light. We'll call it WiLi. Li-Fi. You like Li-Fi better? Yeah, WiLi probably is not going to sell well, is it? Why lie? I cannot lie. My suggestion is to look for a WISP. If you don't want to get your internet service from and most of us, we have two choices in the house, your phone company or your cable company. It's a duopoly, basically. If you don't want to get satellite, I generally, unless there's no other choice, satellite is the last choice because there's a lot of latency, there's bandwidth caps. It's not an ideal internet service unless there's really no other choice. But look for a wireless internet service provider in your neighborhood. They call them WISPs. Some of them use microwave. Some of them use there's a Wi-Fi designed for long distances, and some of them use that. Clear was it Clear? What was the name of that 4G system that Sprint used to use? Clearwire. They used it. It was WiMAX technology. That's kind of died out, I think. But some people use microwave, and just probably the best way to figure out if it's available in your area is go to broadbandreports.com. Broadbandreports.com. They've been around for many, many years. Great little independent website. And you can enter in your zip code, and they can tell you what internet service providers, including WISPs, are in your neighborhood. And even better, they can give you reviews. Happy customers, unhappy customers. They'll let you know. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's get a commercial in for our good friends at Gazelle. You ever wonder what I do with all my old stuff? Well, I give some of it to Jeff, but the rest of it, and my kids and people around the office. But really, I have a giant drawer full of gadgets. I bet you do too. A lot of people do. You buy that new phone. What are you going to do with the old one? Well, I got a solution for you. Turn that old gadget into cash at Gazelle.com. Gazelle.com will pay you cash, and they make it easy because when you go to Gazelle, you can get a quote right now that's good for 30 days. So Apple's got something coming up in a week. Maybe they're going to announce a new iPad. There's no risk, no problem with getting a quote now for your iPad Air, and just in case, maybe they do ship a new iPad. But now you've locked that in for 30 days, and I can guarantee you, wow, $380, wow. I can guarantee you that price is not going up because as soon as they announce a new iPad, it's going to plummet. This is a good time to get rid of your BlackBerry phone, your Samsung Galaxy phone, the HTC phones, your Samsung, your Nokia, your Motorola. They'll buy tablets from Samsung, Motorola, Microsoft. No, actually, they don't buy Motorola, but Microsoft Surface, Asus, Google. Yeah, if you have a Nexus tablet, you can get some cash for it. Do you think a new Nexus 10 will come out at Google I/O? Get a quote right now. Here's the deal. When you go to Gazelle.com, you're going to get that quote, and you don't have to pull the trigger for 30 days. When you decide, I think I'm going to cash in, you say Get Paid. You press the button. See, it says Get Paid. You press that button. They'll send you a box, prepaid. You don't pay the shipping on anything worth more than $1. By the way, they will buy broken iPhones and iPads. You pile that stuff into the box. Their experts will wipe your data off and then send you a check, PayPal credit, or an Amazon gift card, which is worth an additional 5%. Gazelle.com, they pay more than $100 million to over 700,000 customers. It's the fast and easy way to sell those old gadgets. Don't let them gather dust. Gazelle 'em. Gazelle.com. Hey, look who's there. Johnny Jett.
I just made it.
Yay. Hey, did they ask you if you could make an appearance later this afternoon?
It's perfect because next Saturday is my birthday and I'm going to be busy.
Awesome, but I am going to wish you happy birthday. That's good. That's good.
So I can do it.
Good. Through about 3:10, something like that.
I think they said 2:30.
Whatever they said is right.
Or 5:30 my time. I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, good.
Just came in and the train was late. Made an unauthorized stop or unscheduled stop to kick someone off, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to miss it." And then I just rolled up, and my computer just restarted on its own. It said there's some unexpected failure.
Take it back.
I was like, "Oh my!"
Are you at your dad's house?
No, I'm at my sister's in Connecticut.
I can tell because there's birds on the clock.
Yeah, that's my sister's. Actually, that used to be my mom's clock. I think I bought that for my mom.
Aww.
So I think I have to take that back after this segment.
Yes.
Since my sister's away, she doesn't know.
I think it's rightfully yours.
Is it going to make a tweeting sound when?
It does at the top of the hour. It does.
Oh,
whatever bird it is. And my mom's bird, it was the cardinal was her favorite bird. Oh. So
we have a very annoying bird that decides to sing at 3 in the morning every morning right outside our window. I think it's a mockingbird. Very loud. And it does many different calls. It's like a performance every night at 3 in the morning. And I actually have taken to closing the windows so I don't hear the damn mockingbird.
Yeah, that's the one problem with the birds. But you know what? 1 second, my dad's hearing aid is going off. He can't hear it, so I got to tell him to turn it off.
Okay. It's kind of a little feedbacky thing. Speaking of perfection, Leo Laporte, the tech guy with Johnny Jett, the perfect traveler. He is everywhere. You never can catch up with Johnny. Today he is in Connecticut.
My home state.
An exotic location.
This is my favorite time of year to be in Connecticut, Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, it is. So you're going to go to a barbecue on Monday and all of that?
Tomorrow, and we have a parade. It's just everyone's in a good mood because it's the unofficial kickoff to summer. It's like a mini high school reunion. It's the best time to be in America and in the Northeast.
I love Memorial Day. It really is fun. So and the good news is you can now wear your white shoes with your white belt.
For sure. I mean, that's what I live for.
You got all summer. Your plaid pants, your tomato-colored blazer. You're gonna look sharp. So I apologize. I booked a trip to Hawaii for the 4th of July, and I didn't consult the world's most famous traveler, Johnny Jett.
And where are you going?
The Grand Wailea.
Oh, in Maui.
Is that okay in Maui?
Yeah, you're having a 10-year-old with you?
Yeah, 11-year-old. They have like a water slide with a
pool. They have the best pool.
The best pool. That's why we picked it. The best pool.
They will love it.
Good.
Without a doubt.
I'm bringing my daughter. I'm bringing Michael. I'm bringing Michael's cousin. It's a bunch of kids. It's going to be fun.
Walk outside, take a left, and walk, a few blocks, and you'll make it to the Four Seasons and have dinner there.
That's a nice one too, right? And where's the best luau?
Wailea. They're both in Wailea.
They're both in Wailea, yeah.
I don't know where the best luau is, actually. And the ones I've been to are really touristy, and I don't like them. And I think that's a problem with Hawaii, but I'll have to consult on that.
But Hana is around the corner, right? You can just drive down, take the road.
It's not just
the road to Hana. I hear it's just a short little drive.
It's not short. It's a single-lane highway. It'll take you about 3 hours. So
good. I'm preparing.
All right,
Johnny, what do you got for us this week?
So here's a couple of things. Hopefully you guys are signed up to my deals newsletter because Priceline had a mistake going on, and so one of their mistake fairs happened, and they were offering $130 one-way trips to Asia via Europe, either from the West Coast, New York and LA. I saw it actually, LA and San Francisco and New York.
$130, and where do I end up?
There was tickets going to Turkey and then to Beijing. I saw some to
two of my favorite cities in the world, and I've never been to Tokyo. $130 to Tokyo. The only problem is you can't come back.
Well, coming back, that was not a mistake. So you had to pay full fare, but still $130. for one way getting there, it's
basically
a
like half price. Yeah, that's great.
So,
I mean, the round trip is like half price because one.
And it actually might still be going on because it was for a couple days. It's been going on for a couple days.
And so are they required to honor that when that happens?
They almost always do because it's a PR nightmare if they don't.
So what airline is this?
Well, this is actually through Priceline.com.
Ah.
So
you just say, I want to go to Asia.
Yep.
Who eats that? Priceline eats that?
I'll tweet it right now, and then you can, because I have the links to where it all is and how to explain it. So right after this, I'll tweet it.
Tweet it. Johnny, at Johnny Jet, or just, his website. Sign up for that deal newsletter. That's why you want to have the deal newsletter.
That's right.
And you promised William Shatner's not going to come to my house and beat me up for taking advantage of this, right?
Well, they're probably not going to be too happy about this. But what can you do? My job is to protect the consumers and help the consumers.
That's right.
I want people to travel and see the world, and for as cheaply as possible.
Shatner does not look happy about this. I got to tell you right now, he's not.
Actually, he was on one of my flights one time, and I didn't even go near him because I could just tell he was just
grumpy man. No, he's awesome.
I never met him.
I love those ads.
I didn't want to go near him.
Yeah.
All right. So, Virgin America, go to beta.virginamerica.com.
Okay.
They're launching this, and they haven't.
I love Virgin America. If I can fly in the U.S. on Virgin America, I will.
Well, they haven't advertised it, and this is a new site which they say is going to streamline the booking process because they say that they make flying fun. Why can't they make booking a ticket fun and simple? So what they're doing is a couple things which I really like.
Okay.
One is that let's see, they're redesigning the boarding passes.
It's beautiful. It's really a simple site to navigate.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it has plenty of big boxes for selecting cities and dates, and it uses colors and for avatars for seat selection. And then let's see what else they did. I just saw this, and they also have the boarding pass, which I really like. They're redesigning the boarding pass so it actually folds and fits in your back pocket perfectly.
Ah, that's good. I always fold it, and I feel guilty. Like maybe this isn't going to work.
Yeah,
that's good.
Sometimes it doesn't that way. Right. That barcode, I put it in my pocket before, and it will not. Sometimes it does not read with the TSA, and then you're like, "Oh my God, I'm running late. I got to go back down to the counter."
So this is live now. They haven't publicized it, but beta.virginamerica.com.
Correct. And I believe they're going to. I think they'll announce it this week.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so now I got another site for you. This is actually a product. It's called Yugo Bags. Have you heard this?
No, like Yugo, like the car.
UGO Bags, and it's a Kickstarter campaign, so I don't know if it's Yugo.com.
Yugo Bags.
Yep. Is it showing up as YugoBags.com?
Spell it. Y?
No. U is in Utah.
Oh.
G-O.
Yugo Bags. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah. And
it's a Kickstarter campaign.
Yep.
So what they do is you design your own luggage.
Oh, it's pretty.
Which I love.
Yeah,
so you can put your own logo on there. You can put your own text. They also have a template. You can choose the colors of the wheels or the frames, the handle. And they're going to go for $189.
You know what's nice about that? My bag won't look like every other bag on the baggage claim.
Well, that's the whole point, is that you won't have your bag taken or you won't miss it. So you'll see it. And it's a lot tougher for people to steal. I'm
going to put my tech guy logo on it, and everybody will know it's my bag.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Put your head on it. Yeah. UGObags.com.
Yep. And it's $189 normally, but if you back their Kickstarter campaign, it's $149.
That's a good idea.
So
this is a good idea.
And you can put pictures. I mean, I like it. It's just it's clever.
You got 5 more days. Let me see if they raised enough
so
money.
How much have they raised?
Let's just see. Oh yeah, they're over their goal. They were looking for $25,000. They only have 100 backers, but they've already got to 27,000. 4 days to go. So just go to Kickstarter.com and search for Yugo Bags. Remember though, when you're buying on Kickstarter, you're really just giving the company money. And there's really, very little guarantee it'll perform as claimed. But in this case, you're probably all right.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That is
most
good
of the
to know.
time.
So have you had a bad experience before?
Yes, many. But most of the time, you get what you paid for, or you get something that looks somewhat like what you paid for. And if they never make anything at all, they're supposed to give you the money back.
Well, actually, a travel blogger colleague of mine just announced a Kickstarter campaign, which is he got some heat for this week, because Etihad Airlines comes out with they just came out with a three-bedroom suite on their A380.
Oh, a 3-bedroom suite on a plane.
To go from Abu Dhabi to London.
That's so you can bring your entire harem with you.
Well, there's on the A380, there's a kind of a wasted space where Emirates uses it for 2 showers. On Qantas, they just have like a little lounge that no one goes to, and so they decided to make this like a cool little suite, and it's $44,000 for a 7-hour flight. So a blogger did a Kickstarter campaign, and he's actually been
so he can go on it.
So he can go on it and review it.
Oh man. It's got a lounge, or a living room as we call it, a double bed, and a shower en suite. That'd be comfy.
Oh, for sure. But, I mean, a 6.5-hour, 7-hour flight, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That is nothing.
They call it the residence, but you only live there for 7 hours.
That's right.
JohnnyJet.com. Get his travel deals. Join him as he travels the world. Thank you, Johnny. We'll talk next week on your birthday.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. On Johnny's birthday. Wow, look at this. And I don't know that airline, Etihad. Is it?
That's one of my favorite airlines. Actually,
it is better than the.
They're
Emirates.
out of. They're their competitor. They're down the street. They're about 2 hours away. Dubai. Emirates is based out of Dubai. Etihad is based out of Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I've flown them a few times. And
so this guy's trying to raise money so he can go on this. What do you get?
I get nothing. I mean,
no, not listen, you. What does one get if one supports?
He has different things. One, he'll send a postcard. One, I haven't read the whole thing. I saw that he'll send a postcard for one. I think he'll meet and buy you dinner at another in Hong Kong or somewhere else. The guy travels a ton. He's a young kid. But I can't contribute because I don't really agree with it. I think that if you're going to raise money, it should be going.
He's raised 13 grand.
I know, but I would be raising money for a worthy cause, like a charity. But
Ben Schlappig.
Yeah, he's a great kid, and
that's a good idea.
He's a well-known travel blogger.
Got 475 people. You know.
Yeah, no, he's got a good following, and he's done reviews on every single A380 first class, and he wants to do this one.
Wow. Is it per person, or do you just get the whole suite and as many people as you could fit in the suite?
No, for 2 people.
All right.
It's for 2.
Yeah.
I believe it's for 2.
You can't bring your whole harem, in other words. You have to pick your favorite.
No, you can't.
You can only bring your favorite.
That's right. You're trying to get me in trouble, aren't you?
Not you. When I say you, I mean you in general, you.
I know what you're saying.
You, the Sheik of Araby.
I understand what you're saying.
Wow. 1 mile at a time, the Etihad residence. Good for Ben. And you know what? He's going to probably make it. He's got a week left. He's probably going to make it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number. If you want to talk tech, I want to talk tech with you. Yes, I do. Let's move on to our next call of the day. Let's see. It looks like Henry, in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Hi, Henry.
Hey, how are you, Leo?
I'm well. Thanks for hanging on. What can I do for you?
Well, it's great to hear that you recycled the common name, my name, with your son.
Yeah, it's a good name. You like that name? Are you glad you grew up with a name Henry?
Actually, I grew up with my name technically is Heinrich, and I grew up with the name Hank.
Yeah, we call him Hank too, actually.
Yeah, your son might want to look up the German physicist Heinrich Hertz.
Heinrich Hertz, yeah.
Yeah, you look at your radio and you'll see kilohertz, megahertz.
He's like that Hertz, yes.
Yes, for frequency.
Yeah.
If you're ever going to travel here to Pennsylvania, come to Phoenixville and see Blobfest, where this year you can see King Kong versus Godzilla.
It's what fest? Blog Fest?
Blob. Remember the movie called The Blob?
The Blob, yeah. Was the Blob shot in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Phoenixville and Downingtown.
I loved The Blob. That was one of the great horror movies of the 50s.
I've seen it 100 times, and each time I see it, it just doesn't get any better.
It is. It's at the Colonial Theater, Blob Fest.
Yep, that's right.
Wow. An annual thing.
Yep, it's the bomb, man.
So what can I do for you, Heinrich?
Heute ich schreibe, Sie können helfen mit deinem Yahoo problem.
Yahoo problem is the same in every language.
Yes.
It's the universal language of Yahoo problems.
Yes. I've had this Yahoo account for the better part of 10 years.
Yeah.
In November, December of 2012, I had trouble logging in to Yahoo account. And
it's so funny. You know, Yahoo is a big company, makes lots of money, run by Marissa Mayer. They're trying to revitalize themselves. So many people use Yahoo Mail, and I hear nothing but complaints, ever.
Well,
ever.
I use the reason I'm initially used it was for the Messenger. And they
yeah, well, that's gone. Yeah.
Right. But I still have contacts there, which I like to keep. And in November, December 2012, I had to change my password, but yet on my artificial Yahoo account, nothing happened with that.
What's the artificial Yahoo account? I don't understand.
Well, I made a second one for fun.
Oh, okay.
You know, just for the sake of it. Yet the second one, no problems at all. I can keep the same password for the last 4 or 5
Not recommended. In fact, Yahoo may have seen some strange activity on your other account and forced you to change the password. It's not. Yahoo gets hacked a lot. I don't know why. I don't understand it, but there's something about it.
So I changed it multiple times, including just on Thursday.
Yeah.
Meaning 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I made special note of exactly on a little scratch pad posted to my desktop.
And what happened? What's going on?
I put in this morning my new password, and it won't let me in.
It doesn't take. And your old one does work?
No, none of my passwords.
Yeah, it's probably been hacked. So what happens if a bad guy gets into your account is at that point they have control of it, and they can change the password to anything they want. If you don't have a way to get into the account, that's probably what happened. Good luck contacting Yahoo and getting them to fix that. But you know, as Jeff's pointing out, the security question system is terrible. It's broken. People often use security questions that can be guessed. I think that's one reason Yahoo gets hacked a lot. The other reason was until recently, Yahoo was sending the password through the air in the clear. So if you went to a local coffee shop right down the street from the Colonial Theater and you're sending out emails, every time you log into your email, your password and login are passed in the clear through the air, and anybody very simply with a simple tool can see it and grab it. I frankly think it's time to abandon your Yahoo account. If you can get it back, do, and then say to everybody, stop sending me stuff at this account. Start using Gmail. It's better all around. It's better all around. This is the theme song from The Blob. It's for a horror movie. It's a pretty jolly little theme song. Who was in The Blob? Was it Steve McQueen or somebody? Is anybody famous in The Blob? Whoever it was, apparently they were doing the cha-cha.
Beware of the blob, it creeps and leaps and glides and slides across the floor, right through the door and all around a splash.
It's so scary. You'll be terrified. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're going to get more of your calls in just a second. Thank you, Henry. Moving on. Let's say hi to Danny in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Danny.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. You want to shoot the Milky Way?
I do. Last night we had the meteor shower happen.
And tonight, too. We're going to have more tonight, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but basically last night I was out shooting with my EOS 60D, and I tried long exposure and everything like that, and then it hit me that I've seen a few photos where you can shoot the Milky Way galaxy with it. Well, the thing is that I was wondering, what are some tips that you would advise for capturing something like that?
the key, of course, is still going to be a time exposure. There's no way you're going to be able to get the Milky Way or a star or any heavenly body without opening up the shutter and leaving it there for around 15 seconds. I mean, it's a long exposure. You're also going to, depending on what you're shooting. Now, if you're shooting the moon, Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, has said use a telephoto lens, but the Milky Way is big. It's most of the sky, so you're going to need to use a wide-angle lens. You're going to need a tripod.
Yeah.
I think that to shoot the Milky Way, you're probably talking 35 millimeter, 24 millimeter, not 6 millimeters. You don't want to get it too wide. I'm going to put an article the chat room's put in our our chat room. I'll put it on our Tech Guy Labs website from a site called lightstalking.com. And it's how to shoot the Milky Way in 12 steps with 12 epic examples. The internet. First of all, dark sky, doing it in the city. You're going to have too much splash from the city lights, right? No light pollution. You got to go out in the boonies. Step 2 is nowhere to look. I think you know where the Milky Way is.
Yeah.
High ISO is important because it's so dark. The exposure is not enough. You have to set your ISO to around 1,000.
Okay.
All right. Minimum aperture at least f2.8. The faster's better, but you probably have a 2.8 lens, right?
I think so, yeah.
Tripod, of course. Actually, he says start with ISO 3200, which is fairly high. If you go too high, you're going to get a lot of noise. It's going to look a little noisy. But 3200 with your you said a D60?
Yeah, 60D.
60D rather, yeah. That's going to be fine. And then a long shutter speed. But I'll put this is actually a great article by Jason Little. It's from lightstalking, STALKING.com. I'll put it in the show notes at Tech Guy Labs. And good shooting tonight. There's a comet, too, I think. Thank you, chat room. That's a great, perfect article. Hey, everybody. Our show today brought to you by hover.com. I love Hover. It's the domain name registrar I've moved everything over to for a couple of reasons. One, they don't do this whole upsell BS that so many registrars, you know who I'm thinking of, particularly do, where you're trying to I want to buy a domain name, and you got to click 80 times before you can get it. Hover doesn't do that. They make it simple. They make it easy for you. Partly because they know that you're going to want, for instance, WHOIS privacy, so they just build it in. All you have to do is search for a few keywords. Hover will show you the best available options and suggestions. It's clean, it's simple, it's easy. They have a concierge service that'll move all of your domains over. That's what I did. Highly recommend that. Tell them Leo sent you. Maybe they'll waive the cost. It's not very expensive. And they have a huge variety of domain name extensions. .com, of course. .net, country codes. You can get .just about anything. Actually, can you get .just about anything? They say that in the ad, but is there really a .just about? There's the new club domain. This is really cool. If you have a club, Rotary.club, Orlando Rotary.club would be a great domain name. And that solves a problem a lot of people have when you come up with when you come up with a domain and you say, well, there's no .com, I'm going to call it theleolaporte.com or the real Leo. That's silly. Nobody's going to remember that. .club is cool for any social group or club or country club or book club or sports club. Facebook groups. I can get fireleolaporte.club. What are they trying to tell me? How come that came up first? You want to join the Fire Leo Laporte Club? You can. Just $10 to register the domain name. Jacob Leo Laporte, John Leo Laporte, Leo Laporte Communications. Leo Laporte Criminal.club. Hover, are you trying to tell me something here? Leo Laporte followers, flowers, garden, insurance, polls. They've got lots of domain names. If you visit hover.com, they also have great support, by the way. The phone support here, and there's the number. If you call them during business hours, they will not put you on hold. You'll get a customer rep that's going to answer. It's empowered to fix your problem and get it done without putting it on hold. I love Hover. Great for an email domain. Great for your business. Everybody should have their own domain name. That's your home on the web. Get it at hover.com. Use the offer code TTG5, and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. TTG5. Friendly Manitoba registered Leo Laporte loves Winnipeg.com. Good. I like it. Hover, we love them. Nice Canadian company. I don't mention that usually because people go, well, can I register U.S. domain names? Of course. They're the Two Cows, folks. HOVER, hover.com, and don't forget to use TTG5 for 10% off your first purchase. Hover.club. Twit watch? Or watch twit? Do you think we can get watch twit?
I don't think we can get .twit.
.twit?
Well, no, .watch is
Is .watch in there? So twit.watch would be good. Yeah, I can get it. It's only $39. Should I get it?
Yeah,
why not?
Get twit.company also.
Twit.company?
Probably get all these. Twit.democrat.
Twit.bike? Twit.agency? Actually, I am going to get twit.agency. Twit.cab? Twit.camera? Twit.careers? Twit.clothing? I'll give that to Lisa. Twit.democrat. No, she's going to get twit.diamonds. Twit.gallery. Twit.singles? Twit.limo. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, all that jazz. Be a good time to get out there with the camera, get some heavenly bodies. Maybe the Milky Way, the meteor shower. There was the Leonids we had last night, right? Aptly named. And I think there's a comet passing through tonight. So lots of stuff to see. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number if you have a comment, a question, a thought. Or if you just want to tell me I'm wrong like Richard does in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Hi, Richard. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
You love Windows 8.1.
I love it. Honestly, I do. I built an old computer. It was old AMD over 15 years ago when you guys had the screensavers and you had the guys building the gamers.
Yeah.
And so that machine, I only retired it months ago.
What? You used that for like 12 years?
15 years.
15 years. Wow.
It was a dual-core, 64-bit. I ran Windows 7. I loved Windows 7 because I've got a laptop, a Sony laptop. Loved it. But the good old guys between Microsoft and Intel, they snuck some coding in there which wouldn't allow certain software to work on the old AMD.
Uh-oh.
So I had to build a new one.
Oh, man.
So I built another gaming machine. And, of course, I couldn't load my old copy of Windows 7 in it, so I had to load Windows 8.1. And, at first I didn't like the tiles, didn't like that kind of nonsense. I've contacted Microsoft, get rid of the Windows 7 crap. It's a pain in the butt.
Now, let me ask you, are you not... So when you say that, you're talking about the desktop part of it.
The desktop.
You don't want the desktop.
Need it.
You like the tiles? You like the full-screen applications?
Yes. I like the way you can switch between them. You can drag two of them on the screen. It's by far better. And I go to NAB every year. I've been in broadcasting my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the Microsoft booth and I play with the Surface. I love it. If I had the money, I would buy a Surface. I like the way everything it does and the way it works.
What Microsoft has decided is that tablets are at least a big part of the future of computing, maybe not the entire thing.
Right.
So that's where Surface is. It's kind of a hybrid of a tablet and a computer.
It is.
And Windows 8.1 is a hybrid operating system. And the
Yeah.
But you're saying they should commit. And a lot of people, by the way, agree with you. Commit, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Go full speed ahead of this tablet world. Because what's really confusing about Windows 8, Less so in 8.1. I think they've solved some of these issues. But what's really was confusing was it was half tablet, half desktop. You had two versions of Internet Explorer, and you didn't know which one was going to launch. And one had the address bar on the top, one had it on the bottom. It just was confusing because they were trying to merge two different things together.
Yeah, and they fixed the file system so nicely over Windows 7.
Yeah, and I tell people that when they say, well, I don't want to get Windows 8. Underneath the hood, there are some massive improvements, including file copying. Yeah, file copying was broken.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wish you would plug it stronger, help the people who love the Windows 8 interface, and let's get rid of 7 completely. I'd love to get rid of it.
Well, one thing I have changed quite a bit in the last year is I used to say just don't get 8, just stick with 7. At this point, I am telling people you're gonna suck it up and get 8. Yeah. It may not be perfect. It is confusing. I think having a charm bar there, is. I'll give you an example. In the original Windows 8, no one could figure out how to turn off the computer. It turns out the way to do it is to swipe in the charms from the right-hand side of the screen, tap the what was that button? I can't even remember. Was it a power button?
It's a power button.
Yeah, and then you'd have to go down the menu and do shutdown. Now they realize that in Windows 8.1 there's an on-off switch on the screen. That's nice.
Yeah, the latest update they moved it up to the
I think they and of course they now do the pop-ups that tell you don't have to figure it out. Oh, swipe in from here, you'll get the tiles. Swipe in from there, you'll see previous programs. All of that stuff. I think that's they've responded somewhat. It's still a little bit of a dromedary, a camel designed by a committee or whatever.
That's the big problem. Yeah, one of the features that I love is you click on that arrow in the left-hand lower corner, and you can see all your programs, and you can see all the stuff that normally you had to go through the whole file structure to find. It makes things quicker, like the control panel. You can find everything. It's a vast improvement over 7. And I don't know if Heather told you, but I'm ancient. I just built this new computer. It's the hottest, latest. I'm 73 years old, and I built this thing, and I love Windows 8.1.
Richard, you're the dissenting voice. I don't hate Windows 8.1. It is, as I've been corrected, a camel. The horse is a camel designed by a committee. Windows 8.1 is a dromedary, but it is the future. And so if you want to use, I tell people if you're a home user, you probably shouldn't get Windows, get a Mac. But if you need to use Windows,
well, that's the other thing I would really love to argue with you about. You buy that new Super Mac, you paid over $5,000 for it. And it didn't work.
Well, I had a bad one, which does happen. Every company has that problem, and they exchanged it. It works fine now, and I'm really thrilled with it. But you don't have to spend that much. Macs start as little as $7.99. They're not.
I know.
They're not all $5,000 machines. Yeah. Just me. I'm the only one crazy enough to put together a $5,000 machine.
I bought all these parts from Amazon. I put this thing together, and it worked out of the first time the power was turned on.
Well, that's another thing I don't generally recommend, but you like to live on the edge, Richard, and because you're willing to support it. Because here's the problem: a normal person does that, and it doesn't work. Who are you going to call?
Yeah, right.
Me.
Well, I've built them before, and I've built them for friends.
You have some experience, so.
Yeah, I've got, well, I'm an engineer, so it's, and I did this mainly as a mental exercise so I don't get old.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And you want the challenge. You like the challenge of it. I think it's fine. Richard, I don't disagree with you in the sense that I would say, oh, my God, it's the worst thing that ever happened. I think that it suffers because it is trying to do more than an operating system should.
Well, like you said, I don't like that they mixed it. If they had just gone totally new, I think they would have been better off. But
well, then you have the problem of business, where Windows is very heavily used, but it's people doing spreadsheets, and they don't. You don't want to do Excel in a tile. You want to do Excel in a window.
Well, you still it launches Excel when you hit the tile. It's the same thing.
Well, and they're working on, and maybe this will be the turning point. A touch first version of Excel, of Office. and it's not out yet. You can kind of get a hint of what it might be like by playing with Office for the iPad. It's my opinion that nobody who does serious work with Office, particularly spreadsheet work, is going to like it. And the question is, will Microsoft continue to offer the desktop and the desktop version of Excel? My thought is probably. This is one problem Microsoft's always had. They can't leave the past behind. It's too big a part of their business. They've got to keep stuff working. And that's why look at people are mad because they're killing XP 13 years later. Microsoft, it's very tough for them to let go of the past. And so that's why they're never going to let go of the desktop. And that's why their operating system will never be beautiful, because it's a compromise. It's a camel. A horse designed by committee. Hey, thank you, Richard. It's good to hear a dissenting point of view. And I'm really glad, you're the geek. You're the prototypical geek. And I'm glad to hear you're still doing it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Jeff's going. But Jeff, you're a Mac guy. You know what? I finally put Windows 8.1 on the using VMware Fusion on the Mac Pro, and actually, because there's so much horsepower and RAM, even in virtualization, it runs great. Are you running it in VM? Yeah.
Well, on here I'm usually just remoting to my desktop.
Oh, you remote.
But I also have.
It actually runs quite well on the Mac Pro. And because I have 3 monitors, I can have a Windows screen and just leave it open.
But the thing with the arrow, he's like, oh, you see all your things. That's the same as the start menu.
I'll tell you, the thing I love that they did right is if you're on the tile menu, you just start typing the program you want and you hit return. And that is really nice. You had that, but you had to hit the Windows menu and then do it.
But I don't like the arrow.
No, the arrow is not discoverable is the real problem.
But it shows you everything. I like to see,
right.
Because some apps come with 19 things inside their programs folder. And
Right. The real problem is that you can't find it. It's not obvious that it's there. I bet you half the people using Windows 8 have no idea that if you put the arrow in the corner. 8.1 makes a big difference. No, I agree.
But still, I don't like that versus a start menu where it's all collapsed and then you go forward.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Another half hour or so to go in the Tech Guy Show. The GizWiz coming up in about half an hour. We are going to continue to take calls after the end of the show. We're going to record ahead for an upcoming episode. So if you can't get through, sometimes it's hard to get through during the regular show. Almost always hard to get through during the regular show. We will have we'll keep those lines open for another hour or so. So keep the calls coming in, and I will answer as many as I can for half an hour, 45 minutes after the show. Ron in North Hollywood, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ron.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm mighty fine, except that I got a problem because I own a recording studio in North Hollywood, and like a lot of other studios and broadcast facilities, and I'm sure that you use it as well, is ISDN is monopolized, obviously, and owned completely by AT&T. And they have started shooting up those prices for just hanging on to the line.
Really?
It's killing us. Like mine has gone up. I've had 2 raises in the last 6 months.
I got to check my bill. So I'm using ISDN right now. The phone company came up with this in the 90s. It stands for Integrated Services Digital Network. The idea was instead of running analog voice over telephone lines, you could run digital stuff over the lines. It never was very fast, 128 kilobits per second. But it turns out it's fast enough to do audio. It's fast enough to do high quality stereo audio.
No, you can do 20K. You can do 20K bandwidth on it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's great for, because obviously we have a lot of the voiceover talent here in Los Angeles, and people all over the country obviously use this. Dallas, Chicago, wherever, so that they can get the full spectrum of audio whenever they're trying to work, and also the broadcast facilities as well. But everybody is facing the same thing because AT&T is the only provider. They are the monopolistic people that hang on to this, and we're trying to find another option. And as we look at IP codecs, obviously there's an infrastructure that's already set up on the ISDN setup.
I'll tell you the advantage. And by the way, I'm talking to you via ISDN, so I am not in the studios. The Premier Radio Network studios are in Sherman Oaks, LA area. I'm in Northern California, 300 miles away. They dial in. I have a special box. They have a special box. The line themselves is the same copper that you would use for your telephone line. The difference is the switch at the central office, at the phone company's office. It's not a standard telephone switch. It's an ISDN switch. And for a long time, it wasn't really expensive. I'm shocked to hear the prices are going up, and that's disappointing. And you know why? Not because it's costing them more, but because they want to get rid of it. They don't want to have a separate switch. So few of us use it. They want to get that ISDN switch out of their racks, out of their central office, and this is how they do it. The problem is there is no suitable replacement yet. And
that's what I'm dying to know if anybody knows anything about any replacements, because if we start over again, for instance, you've got a box, as you call it there. You probably got a Telos.
I do, and Telos is the ISDN codec.
Yeah, you probably got a Zephyr. I've got a Zephyr.
Zephyr,
and most everybody in the business over the last 15 years have bought these boxes.
And thousands of radio stations all over the country. This is how you do it.
But at this point, if we go IP direction, we have to go and buy new boxes and have everybody that we do business with buying new boxes that are in, you can't just use the old stuff.
So Telos is making so here's the real advantage of ISDN. It's not a lot of bandwidth. In fact, it was the first broadband connection I had, and I was happy because I had a 56K modem. It was twice as good as that. And it hasn't gotten any faster in 20 years, but it's a direct connection. When I call you, Ron, on your Telos box and my Telos box here, it's like a phone call. There's no internet in between us. It's a direct connection. So there's no delay. There's no lost packets. It's just a clear, direct connection. And there's enough bandwidth to do high-quality stereo audio. As you said, 20 kilohertz of bandwidth. Unfortunately, the internet is not a good substitute. And that's, of course, what we're probably going to move to, because the internet's unpredictable. And you already know this when you use the internet. When you watch streaming video or audio, sometimes it stops, it buffers, or bits of pieces are falling out. Packets get lost, packets get misrouted, they don't arrive in a timely fashion, or they arrive out of order. And all of this kills real-time audio. So it's a big problem. Telos has shown me, and they do make IP-based boxes. In fact, they make hybrid boxes now. If you were to go out and get a new Telos box, you'd probably get one that had both ISDN and IP capability built in. There's no answer, Ron. It's kind of inside base. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because this doesn't help people at home. Most people don't have ISDN lines, but it is going to be a problem. And frankly, and don't tell AT&T I said this, they can continue to raise the rates quite high because there's no alternative. So they can charge a lot of money. Now, these Telos boxes themselves are sometimes $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. They're not cheap, but that's a one-time cost. And for a long time, it cost $128 to put in an ISDN line and about $25 a month to use it. You pay a minute-per-minute fee, but it was pretty low. It wasn't expensive. But the truth is, radio stations are going to pay lots more because there's no choice. And I bet your recording studios are going to do the same. So I don't know what the alternative is. The internet is not, by its very nature, kind to real-time two-way audio. It's not the amount of bandwidth. There's a lot more bandwidth. This actually is a topic that's relevant to everybody, because I think sometimes, you hear, I've got 10 megabits down and 100 or 1 megabit up. And that's enough to do super great video and audio. Shouldn't that be enough to do this? It is. It's not just the speed. It's the latency, the delay between 2 points. It's the dropped packets, the misrouted packets. All of that stuff is unpredictable because the internet's unpredictable. It's like a giant sea that you're sending your data out on. You hope it gets to the other side safe and secure, but there's no guarantee. So we shall see. We shall see. I hope there's a solution. I know Telos understands this, and they, among others, are trying to come up with a solution. But I don't think there's anything out there on the public internet. It will end up using some sort of point-to-point system, I'm sure. Some sort of phone call. I don't think this is the real. What really underscores the real problem, which is there's no love lost between the telephone company and its customers. So many businesses these days, Amazon made its name by saying, We love our customers, customer first, et cetera, et cetera. But that's kind of a more modern point of view. So many businesses like Ma Bell, remember what Lily Tomlin used to say? We don't care. We don't have to. We're the phone company. So, Ron, I don't know of anything. If you find us something, let me know. But I think we're just going to suffer, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so at the moment.
Yeah. So you do music, or you said mostly voiceover stuff, or
mostly voiceover, commercials, stuff like that. We do a lot of commercials for all kinds of people all over the country. 7-Eleven. We've done like Warner Brothers.
One of the things we've looked at, we use Skype. We do a lot of IP-based stuff because we're not two-way, so it doesn't matter. Latency's not a problem. But one of the things we're looking at is a low-quality signal so that we can be in real time, and then double end recording so you can record high-quality audio, send it after the fact, as long as this. You've tried that?
G.7.22. Try that one on your box.
Oh yeah, I use that all the time with KFI. Yeah, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I didn't realize the prices were going up. I don't know what we're gonna do. It's just these old businesses are killing each other. They're Here's the Opus Interactive Codec. The codec is not the problem. The codec is not the issue. So if it's using Silk, that's what Skype uses. Kelt is the kind of high-quality replacement that's open, but which I don't like. This isn't the point. The point is not the codec. The point is latency. The point is the unpredictability of the internet, and no codec can fix that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's get back to the phones. Mark is on the line from, he's on I-84. He's traveling. He's on the road. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hey, I got dyslexia, and it's affected my whole life as far as a career choice. I used to be in IT, and now I'm driving truck.
Yeah.
And I couldn't read the screen very fast. And I've noticed that if my eyes are moving across the screen or across the page, I can only read about 20 words a minute.
Interesting.
But I've noticed if I make the window on the screen really small.
Yeah.
And then I make it that's the size of what I can see without moving my eyes, and then I hit the enter button, keep going and going. I can read a lot faster that way.
There is an app you really ought to check out. You have an iPad or an iPhone?
I use a Galaxy S4.
I don't know if there's a Android version. I know it's coming. My friends Natalie Clayton Morris and Natalie and Clayton Morris. He's on TV, actually. He's on Fox and Friends, and I've known Natalie for years. I've known both of them for years. Have an app they created called Read Quick, and that's exactly the point of it. The app can teach you how to speed read, but it also has the advantage, and I think you would find this really great, of helping people who have difficulty moving their eye, with moving their eyes, just as you do, to read faster. You can put any content you want in there, and what it does is it only shows you one character at a time. You choose the speed, and it's an amazing experience to use it, because you will actually be able to keep up even at much higher reading speeds than you're normally used to, because you don't move your eyes. You're only looking at a word at a time. And I love this. Now, I'm going to see, maybe the chat room could tell me if there's something like this for Android, because this is such a great way to read. I think you'd love it.
Yeah, the other thing I'd like to do is be able to put it on a Chromebook, too.
Yeah, I'm sure. This technique they did not invent. So I would guess that there are other programs. I'm going to take a look. You keep listening, and I want you to pay attention to the road anyway. So you keep listening and driving. I'm going to come up, if I can, with a program for either a Chromebook, like a Chrome extension, or an Android app. Natalie's told me that they are working on the Android app, so it will be out eventually. The website for it is readquickapp.com. And I says, all right, yep, see, already somebody's found Jeff. You ought to just sit in this studio every day, Jeff. Just feed me the answers. He found a extension on the Chrome store called Spreed, S-P-R-E-E-D, Speed Read the Web. And this would work on a Chromebook, and I guess the idea would be that it does the same thing, right? Train yourself to double or triple your reading speed without sacrificing comprehension. It's a Spritz-like Chrome extension that lets you blaze through articles, reading them in half or a third of the time, I guess by reading one word at a time. See, one of the things speed reading coaches and experts say is that, and I do this, most of the time as we read out loud, we hear it in our head, right? We're actually reading in our head. And these programs prevent you from doing it. If you're on Android, Speed Reader by P. Garrison is a free app. Thank you, chat room. Again, you guys are good. Needles, did you find that? No, all right. Speed Reader uses a method, and I guess this is what you would search for in general, rapid serial visual presentation. That's the technique that all of these programs use. They show you a word at a time. And they say speeds of 600 words a minute are not unusual. Most of the programs I've seen will allow you to choose how many words at a time you see. One is pretty low. The idea is you'll not move your eyes and you will not sub-vocalize or say the words in your head. And you will speed up your reading. This program, which is free for Android, Speed Reader by P. Garrison, can import text files, PDF files, EPUB, which is a common ebook file, HTML and XML files. So that's pretty good. That means you'd be able to import almost anything and read them. What an interesting idea. I've tried these things. I'm not in a hurry. I like reading the old-fashioned way, one word at a time. But maybe this will help you, Mark. I think this is a great thing. So there's a few choices, and as always with all this stuff, I know you're driving, I'm speaking. Maybe I'm going too fast to follow. Certainly too fast to write it down, since you got to keep your hands on the wheel. So we will put all of this stuff in the show notes at techguylabs.com, and you can go after the fact and check it. techguylabs.com. And I should mention there's maybe a little controversy in terms of whether this will help you speed up your reading. And I know that that's not really what you're looking for, Mark. You're just looking to be able to read. But there is some controversy over whether these programs like Spritz and others will actually make you faster. RSVP is the technique, Rapid Serial Visual Presentation. It's been around for a long time. Nothing new. And it's controversial. Chris in Oceanside, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Chris, come on over to the phone. You're on. Hey.
Leo.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, I got a problem.
Yeah.
My computer is starting to get very, very slow.
That seems to be the #1 complaint people have about their computers.
And sometimes it freezes on me, right in the middle of my surfing. And, the other thing that really ticked me off is most of the time whenever I click on something, there will be this automatic advertisement.
Oh, yeah, you got something going on in there. Some bad stuff's on your system there. May not be a virus, but it's definitely adware. And that could be why it's slowing down. There's two things most commonly that slow down computers. One is adware, or just some other program, good or bad, running in the background, taking up valuable CPU cycles. That's one very common problem. The other one is a hard drive that's starting to fail. If you think about it, when your hard drive starts to get a little hard to read, your computer spends more time trying to read the disk. And it can actually end up taking a lot longer to load something in, to run a program, and so forth. Do not fall for those ads. You're going to see them and hear them. You might even hear them on some of the radio stations this show is on that say, we will speed up your PC. My clean PC, these kinds of things, I don't recommend them. The best way to do this is figure out if you've got malware or adware. If you do, remove it. That's a bad thing for other reasons, not just speed. If you have an antivirus, scan it. Microsoft actually puts one on your system you may not know about called the malicious software removal tool. It's not technically an antivirus, but it will find and remove a lot of stuff. You can get that to run by clicking Start, Run. You know, on your Start menu, hit the Run item and typing MRT. When you hit Return, the window will pop up for the malicious software removal tool. Do a thorough scan. That is something that's updated every month by Microsoft Windows Update, and that's very useful. You can also scan it with an antivirus or bring it to an expert and say, hey, there's something on here. You should not see ad pop-ups every time you click the mouse. That's a sign you got something. I would definitely solve that first. If the computer's still slow, the next best thing is, and I do this regularly, I know a lot of you don't, is I just reinstall Windows and start over. A lot of people, it's too much work. Maybe you haven't done this in 10 years. No wonder your computer's slow. You can find the Windows install disks, back up your data, reinstall Windows, get it all the way up to date, and oftentimes that makes it a lot faster. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Or you could just wait till Microsoft support calls you. They'll help you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Wrapping it up for this episode of the Tech Guy Show. But a reminder, I will be continuing to answer calls for another 45 minutes to an hour. So keep those calls coming in at 8888 Ask Leo. This time of day, though, we usually like to check in with a wild and crazy fella we know as the Blob, Dick DeBartolo. Did you see we were talking about the Blob movie earlier on the show?
Yeah, and I heard that song.
That song is the Cha-Cha song. It's so funny. I'm going to have to go home and watch that show with Steve McQueen. Very funny. Hello, Dickie D. Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer. He's also, we call him our GizWiz because he's a gadget hound. He always brings something fun to the table. What do you got today for us?
I have something fun and so inexpensive. It's not out yet. It's coming, okay? But
okay.
It's a clever idea. It's also from the hardware show. And, you know, every year at the hardware show, there's someone has a screwdriver with a light in it. And Hemeka came out with a set of wrenches where every wrench has an LED light in it. And Honeywell thought, what if we came up with an LED light, really tiny, that had a magnetic back? And since most tools, you can click a magnet on them, you could add an LED light to just about any tool you're using, and you don't have to have a special LED tool. Or you can even attach it to scissors, or if you're working on a car, you can stick it on anything that is a magnet is attracted to. So they're little guys. They're probably a ½ inch long. They have a little on-off switch in the back. Battery's not replaceable, but it's an LED light. So it's probably going to be a very long life. And they're not coming to August, September, but the woman at the Honeywell booth said there'll be a pack of 3 and probably under $5. Also, they gave me a couple from the show. I put one over my door lock pointing down. so you
can see. I think that's...
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
You just leave them on all the time?
You can leave them on. Well, there's a little on-off switch at the back. So I leave the switch off, obviously, until I need it. And then just a little click, and then it's shining directly down on the keyhole. I tried it on several screwdrivers. I tried it on 2 different scissors that I have, and they work great. So it's a real easy way to add light to anything that a magnet is attracted to. And again, 3 for $5. She said could be $3.99 for 3 of them. They haven't priced them out yet, but I think it's a pretty.
And it'll burn and for ages and ages.
Yeah, because they're LEDs. You know, I thought there might be a button battery in there that you could replace, but you know, if you bought a new button battery, it'd be more than the price.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's cheaper just to replace the whole thing. Yeah. I think this is a great idea. Just have everything should light up. Now, let me ask you though, because this is a problem in my house. By the way, I've put on my Dick DeBartolo mustache so that we match today. Yeah.
Does that have a light under it?
No.
I like it. That's great.
When I go to sleep, I don't like a lot of light in the bedroom. And I notice that everything I have, all the power supply, everything has little LED lights. It's like a Christmas tree in there. Are you? Is that how you? Or do you darken all that stuff when you go to sleep?
I do, and ThinkGeek, I think it's ThinkGeek, has a sheet of diminishing little filters that go over
Stick
LED
them over
lights.
That's a good idea.
So that, Leah, you know what I use? I just use
little black tape.
Tissues.
Oh, tissues.
Yeah, I use tissues because it knocks them down a lot. Some things I'd like to know they're still on. But if you just lay a tissue over it, it dims it down. Exactly.
See, I do that, and I wake up and I think I'm dying. Everything's getting darker. It's all dark. Dick is at GizWiz.biz. That's the place to play the game. What the heck is that? If you get it right, or you just come up with a crazy good answer that makes Dick laugh, you could win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine, GizWiz.biz. And click the "What the heck is that?" contest button on the right there. Let me just look. Oh yeah, that one's easy. That's a plastic buzzsaw replacement blade for when you need to saw bananas or something.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
It's a banana saw. You have to take the peel off first, though. It won't go through the peel. GizWiz.biz, play the game, win the autographed Mad Magazine. And Dick, hang on, we're going to do the Giz Fizz a little bit later on.
Yes, sir.
On this same radio network. Well, actually, the podcast network. The radio is probably going to go to something much more interesting.
I doubt it.
Ray in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I think you might be the last.
Thank you so much, Leo. I got myself into a jam here. I installed some updates, Windows updates, like they recommend to do. Then when I restarted my computer, I had like 20 of these little windows that said EXE can't find or something's wrong. And now I've gotten to the point where now when I restart it, I get multiple Chrome browser windows open up. And all my shortcuts had this generic kind of icon with the...
This is a mess, isn't it? This is all messed up.
Yeah, and so then I tried to fix it with... I can't open my registry. It wouldn't let me do that. I couldn't recover to a previous date. I plugged in my...
It's all right. You don't have to go on. It's bad. I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it has anything to do with the Windows Update. No Windows Update's going to do that. Okay. I think that probably your hard drive's a little flaky. This is a very common thing, and people never think about the hard drive, but it sounds like a hard drive problem. The only way to find out, though, is to reinstall Windows and start over. It's just it's messed up. If you have an installed disk, there's one maybe shortcut. You can do a Windows repair. Are you a Windows 7? What version of Windows?
Windows 7.
Yeah. So run the installed, on Windows 8, this is all built in, which is nice. You can refresh Windows. There's actually a command in the control panel that'll let you do this. Unfortunately, it's a little more manual in Windows 7. You'll run the installer, it'll go, through a few pages, and then all of a sudden say, whoa, you have Windows already installed. Do you want me to repair it? Press R, and you press R, and it will try to repair Windows. It'll have all the files available to it from the Windows disk. It'll replace files that are missing or damaged. With any luck, this will fix it. I don't have high hope.
Now, how do I access Windows Repair?
You need a Windows install disk. Do you have one?
No.
Nobody has one.
No,
makes me crazy.
No.
Nobody has one.
I have a backup from about 6 months ago on an external drive.
Well, that's not a backup probably of Windows, though. That's a backup of your data, right?
Right. Yeah,
yeah. Did you ever make recovery disk or get recovery disks?
I've done that in the past. When everything got the one caller you had, everything gets sold. I just would back up everything to my external drive, go back to the factory, and then reinstall everything.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But I can't. When I plug in my external drive, it says use this drive for backup. When I click on that, I get a thing that says the backup application could not start due to an internal error.
Yeah, Windows is hosed. You can't run anything at this point. That's why you want Windows install disks, because at this point, the best thing is to boot up and run an installer, and you're going to have to do that, I think. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.